Hey guys, this is Living and Lemon from the future. So sorry for taking so long to give you the video. This is the video. It turned out about 40 minutes, so it's a long one. I'll be putting some timestamps in the description below for some parts. If you don't want to check them out, you can just skip all the way to the front. But yeah, okay, here's the video. Hi there, I'm Livin and Limo from Livin and Limo Productions. Okay, so I'm going to make the breakdown right now. The program I use for the animations is called Toon Boom Harmony. So it's basically like Flash or TV Paint. Every one of those programs works for you if you want to animate. The cool thing about this one is everything is vector here. So if I make a drawing of Darkie or something, a small character, if I make him bigger or smaller, the pixel count stays the same. You know, in Photoshop, if it's raster, if you make it really small, the thing is that it gets pixelated. But with vector you don't have that problem. I'm thinking of uploading the whole animatic as a separate video so you can just see it, and you can go back and forth from the animatic and the Darkie official video so you can see the process from there to here. But I'm going to show you some of the scenes right now and I'm going to break them down. But first, you see this that I have over here on the right, this screen. This is the node view. These are all my drawings. In other animation programs you have layers, and imagine on the top layer you draw the character, on the bottom layer you draw the background and it's behind him. So here what I have are all of these layers. For each shot, the tree that is forming from these ones here, you can see it. This is all the animatic, just the animatic, without the polished animation. And if we follow it over here, we're going to see a line of shots. So this I think this is the first shot. This is the first one. I think this is the second, the third. I had them here more grouped together because this is the beginning. This is the scene in the bar. This is a little boring, but I want you to have a image for it, how it's going all together. If we follow along, these are all the scenes in chronological order, going from right to left. And if we go a little faster, at the farthest left corner we have, I think this is the last scene. So okay, this was boring, but now I'm going to go into the details of how it's actually done. So here we have the beginning. This is the animatic. As you can see, it's just the poses without the in-betweens. Okay, this is the cool thing about the node view. You see this one is red, that's because I have disabled it. I have disabled the polished animation, we're seeing only the animatic. And if I hit A, this enables it. So now we can see the polished animation above. Animation is basically made frame by frame. The movement of my hand, we have this position here and this position here, and I make each one of them in between is a drawing. But that's the traditional way. In Toon Boom and programs like Flash or something like that, the cool thing is if I grab Wendigo's face and I go over here to the timeline, I basically have a drawing of his head, and it's let's say for 20 frames, about 1 second. For 1 second I have a single drawing, and I don't draw it over and over if I want to move it. I have a peg which moves the drawing. So if you see over here, this is the place where the head is moving, and if I move it, I can make the movement. So if I go frame by frame, you see these are different frames. I think so. These red dots, these are the frames. So over here we don't have any movement because we're on a single frame. And when we go next frame, it's a small movement, but you can see it then. A bigger one, a bigger one, a bigger one, and a smaller one. So most of movement makes it look easier to track from the human eye is if you have one motion, one position here, one position here. We put one in between. It's called an in between, and then we have an in between from the in between of the first one. So from the two positions we have three, and then we split also in two. So now we have five because we have two more on the both sides of this one. So when I have this one and one in between, the in between for the first and the second one is going to be closer to the first one. This is going to make a slowly going movement, then going faster, and then going slower again. And this makes it easier for the eye. So that's why the first movement is so small, a little bigger, a little bigger, a little smaller, and the smallest, and makes this movement. It makes his head, and that's it. So most of the animation is done in this fashion. So as you can see, the hand is also a different drawing. That I don't draw each one of them. I just move the drawing down. It's a really cheap way of animating, but it's really fast and it's effective. And of course, not everything is done this way. So let me go a little further. You saw the turning of the heads. So each turning of the head is a frame by frame. This is the first drawing. Actually, if we go to the drawing window, here we can see just the drawings without everything. Okay, here are the drawings. Now, as you can see, we don't have pegs here. We don't have those red squares. The thing is, we have the first drawing, the next drawing, the next drawing, the next drawing, and yeah, that's it. And then we have the circling head of this guy. The cool thing is, we can actually see his face. He's a real funny looking guy. Yeah. Funny looking guy. So if you're into animation, you probably know this method more. It's traditional drawing frame by frame, each frames. Yeah, the smile is the same, it's frame by frame. I actually so for the mouth, this is one thing that's useful. You don't want to draw the mouth again and again and again each time. As you can, if you follow the teeth, if I come here, if you follow the teeth, you can see that the center line where the top and bottom row of teeth intersect in the middle line, it doesn't move at all. That's because I actually made the big smile first and then went from back to front, covering it up. So tick 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 tick, and this doesn't make your drawing wobbly a lot. Oh yeah, so I like this shot, how it turned out. The thing is, if you want to create perspective, it's best made if you have a front object and a back object. So here the chandelier is closest to us. The first time I made this shot, so if I turn off this, you can see it's static and he's only moving, and he's not even moving all that much. I finished the shot, I made all the characters, I made Wendigo in the bottom right corner, Darkie in the top left corner, and I made him move down, and I also made a small camera movement of the whole shot together. If you can see, it's going from left to right, but it looked a little fake, as though I was just moving the screen like I'm doing right now without actually moving the camera and making different objects move separately, which creates the idea of depth. So what I did, I just grabbed the chandelier and I moved it a little faster than everything. So I have it in a group. This is okay. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not really tidy with my note trees. Okay, I will show you this later because it's a real mess over here. But if I have a simple drawing of a character's head, and I have a body, and the head has a peg which can move the head separately, and the body has a peg that can move the body separately, I have another peg that connects both of them, and if I move that peg, it moves the whole body together. For this shot, I move the whole shot, and inside that movement, the chandelier is moving with it. So I added a little faster movement of the chandelier, and that creates a depth effect. yeah. So if you wanna save on animation budget, this is the best way. So basically, I have these guys drawn in one frame. Dark is just moving in front of them, and it's just a flipped image without any animation. I really like so stuff like that where you're just lazy, but it works. Yeah, this is just a frame of the eyes on a separate layer, and I move them. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of the storyboard, the animatic, is actually really polished. It's not so sketchy. That's why it takes a lot more time to make the animatic. If you make a really strong animatic at first, it's going to be easier after that, because you basically follow the lines. But of course, it's best to make a more scribbly one, a storyboard at first, with throwing out your ideas, then polishing it, making a stronger animatic, and from then going to the final polish. Stuff like this, when they go on the strings, it's a looped animation. Looped animations are a thing of beauty. Looped animations are my favorite thing, because if you can use a looped animation, you basically get away with a lot more time in a much smaller amount of time. So if you really have to finish your animation fast, loop your animations and make them look good. So you can really polish a lot more looped animation than a complete frame by frame scene. Yeah, this was drawing a couple of keyframes and then making a lot of in-betweens to make it smoother. As you can see, when you string a guitar, you don't do it like this, but if you are on a time crunch, you have to do it like that. So yeah, the drinking shot again. Yeah, so we have the keyframe from here, and we have the keyframe over here, and doing all the in-betweens. There's nothing more I can tell you about that. It's just drawing. Yeah, basically here they're on separate layers, so I can move them separately to create that depth effect. And over here you can see, so each one of them is a looped animation, and the barrel shots, the white flashes, they're also looped animations. So I made I think here there are about 2 or 3 different explosions, and I just scale them down, push them back, push them front, and yeah, just basically doing this frame here, frame here, frame here, frame here, frame down, frame here, frame here, frame here, frame here, frame down, and just mix it up so it's not together with everything. I liked when the music intersects with the animation. So here the Darkie's hat, exactly when it says "Ama ha," it comes down. Yeah, here it's fun. To make it more smooth, transitions are really important. How we go from one shot to another shot. So they're cinematic. Cinematography, not tricks, rules that you need to follow. So if one person is talking from here, he has to say on the left side of on the screen. It's mirrored, so I'm not sure. And if the other guy is talking, he has to stay on the right side of the screen. So if they turn on the opposite direction, the viewer gets confused. So if I'm here, I basically made this. Darkie is going up, and on the next shot, he's also getting up, but he's on the opposite side of the screen. So both times he's looking at the camera, but we have the idea that he probably turned around in between the movement. So yeah, it doesn't make sense because he's with his back towards the bar. Actually, we don't know that because he jumped behind. He may be on the side with the bottles behind him. So yeah, just follow your screen logic. Yeah, so going into Sakuga. If you guys know what Sakuga is, I'm a big fan. It's in Japanese animations. It's basically when animators want to go wild, want to go mental. You basically just draw the shit out of your animations. So here it's there's no need for making in-betweens. The thing here is just if I disable it, you can see. Yeah, well, basically just I have this drawing, I have this drawing, I have this drawing, I have this drawing, and I just follow the movement. I try to not make, if he's shot like this, it doesn't make sense for him to be here the next shot. If he's being shot from back, he may, but if he's being shot from the front like Darkie is hitting, one shot is here. If his arm is shot, the arm is going to go up, and this arm is going to go back, and it's breaking over here, so it's going to start to rolling back like I did over here. So pa 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 pa, and the arm is going back. And at the end, I just make it each frame goes closer to the next and closer to the next and closer to the next. That makes it more slower, so it's easier to go from this shot to the next shot, because if it's just and it's too chaotic. Okay, I read a lot of the comments on the rap music video, and thanks to all of you guys. You really liked it. Me and Darkie really appreciate it. It's really nice to be appreciated for what you're doing, especially if you put a lot of work into it. So I read a comment, and I had this as an idea in the beginning. It looks like Cubensis is shooting at him. So the thing is that I already animated the scene where he got behind the bar and when he started shooting, and I also already had the scene where he's running over here, but I really wanted the shot where Cubensis is shooting with a really big gun. It's really close up like this, so I had to put it in here, because the next shot is their heads blowing up, and then it's Darkie. So I want to make it seem like someone else was shooting at Darkie and Cubensis was helping him, but it kind of looks like Cubensis is shooting at him. And if you look over here at the bottom, you're gonna see Darkie, a little broken Darkie, just running on the side while Cubensis is shooting at the guys. And the next shot is just pa pa, their heads blowing up. I really like explosion animations, because you can basically have a shot of a head or something, and it's starting to inflate or something, 2 frames larger, and the next shot is just a bah, and just an explosion. And of course, start to make the blood smaller. Okay, this shot was a little hard, because if you look over here, this is the shot made in the animatic. It's basically the same. This is one of the shots where I had to make it look right in the animatic if I wanted to keep it at all, because if I have an idea about the shot and it's a hard camera movement and I can't make the camera movement stick here so it flows together with the rest of the animation, there's no need of it. I just don't need to make it. It's just going to look bad. So I had to make it look good on the first shot over here. So basically, Darkie is running on one angle. He's not moving. Let me show you. Okay, so first I'm going to disable the shake, because I really like shaking the camera. The next thing is, as you can see, it's on one shot, and if I disable this one and this one, so okay, as you can see, basically I made Darkie in one layer where he's running at one place. Also made his coat on the same angle with him, but on a different layer from this frame forward, because I needed Darkie to start running faster than the code, because he throws it back, so it's going to stay. He continues running, so everything else movement wise is just moving the background on the opposite direction of Darkie, and the code goes along, then the code stays in the center of the shot, and Darkie is staying at the same shot with a little movement, so it looks more natural, but as soon as he throws his code back, he just gets out of the shot, leaving at the code. And the code is just going all the way. Okay, so I noticed a mistake in the animation that I read a lot of comments and I didn't see anybody noticing this mistake. So the door on the saloon on this shot is overlapping the window. This door has to be over here, and it's not. Darkie, he's going out of the door. He's going out of the right place. It's just that the door is on the wrong part, and he's, as you can see, it's just wrong. This and Darkie has to be over here, and the door has to be over here. So yeah, when you're trying to make it fast, you have some mistakes. Okay, so this is the shot. Basically, one thing I want to tell you, the saloon scene was the most boring scene of everything here. I really didn't want to make it. It turned out well, but since it's a storytelling scene, it has to take you in. You have to feel the vibe of a western. The vibe. I had to make it. It's more slower. It's going with the melody, but since we don't have this strong pumped up feeling of the rest of the song, it had to be slower. It had to have a lot of more frame by frame animation, more backgrounds, which always makes it a lot slower in the animation process. Until this point, until this shot here, it was a really slow grind until I got out of the saloon. And one thing about that is that the saloon scene is actually almost the half of the animation. If you look over here on the bottom bar, we're over here. We're at the middle. So yeah, it took a lot of time. One thing about the mouth movement, it's really fun. I have Darkie's hat on one layer, one peg. I have his head on another, but the thing is I have his mouth and his eyes on two separate layers. This is because I can make him blink separately from his mouth movement. The thing about mouth movement is it's really fun. I actually advise some of you that want to make animations to try out with just some lip sync over some music or speeches or stuff like that. Or like there's this YouTube animator, I'm a big fan of his. He makes really fun videos from podcasts or some series. He just takes an audio clip and animates over it. Here we have different mouths, as you can see here on the right. If I come over here, you see all these different frames. This is one frame, this is another frame, this is another frame, this is another frame. So I'm basically turning on the music, and if I drag the cursor, I hear a bunch of noise because it's really distorted. But you know, I have a lyrics file where I can see what he's saying, and also hearing some of the vowels, some of the letters he's saying, and basically going front. Here I have this word here. I'm going to put an A. I'm going to come here. I'm going to put an S. I'm going to here an U. I'm going here put an E, and that's making lip sync, basically. So that's about it with lip syncing. Oh, I love this shot. This is one of my favorite sections. I have these guys are on separate layers. His gun is on a separate one, so he can do this. These ones are just frame by frame. I have like that, so he's just making this, and I'm putting smoke coming out of his barrel. Then over here, the thing is, we have a movement, of course. It's like this, and just move everything. The thing in animating, it's separate from filming, because if you film and I move the camera like this, I'm actually moving the camera on the opposite direction. So in animation we actually make the opposite of that. If I want to move this way, I'm going to move the drawing this way. So you know, it's the opposite to create the idea of moving a camera. I don't know if I explained that really well, but I think you get it. And here I basically have him as one object, him as another, and the both arms. So this is what I told you about looping animation. I have Darkie is just two drawings here. Look. If I go to Darkie drawing, He's this one and this one, this one and this one, this one and this one, and he's just going and that's it. And the only thing that I've actually animated is the arm, and it's about 4 or 5 frames going and just sticking up the other guy's arm. And here he's dropping he drops the gun, he catches it again, and over here he drops it and it's falling down, and of course putting some small sparks when you hit a gun with a knife. It's you know. Oh yeah, I really like this shot. Again, just 5 frames, and you have a yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oof, my favorite shot. I love this. I want this my screensaver. Yeah. I'm basically tugging on my own wiener over here, but I really like how this one turned out. It's really beautiful. This one, I knew that I had to make each one of these guys on the horses on a looped animation, going one way, and then moving the whole background the other way. But as I mentioned before, to make that depth effect, okay, if I turn it off, you can see it's basically going on different speeds. You know, the front bush is going fastest, the ground going a little slower, these front sets of mountains over here behind them going a little faster than the back ones, and of course the clouds going slowest. And of course I made little movement on our guys, so they intersect a little bit, so it's not just 2 static drawings here, of course moving on their separate ways, but just saying here. So Darkie going a little bit back, Wendigo going a little bit further, so it's going a little more natural. And for these guys, you know, over here you can see this is just a tree for each one of them, because they're a copy and paste of the same guy, just intersected, so it's not the same movement on the horses. So one is going this way, one is going this way, and it's not the same. And of course each one of them going and intersecting. Yeah, about this one, I had to look on some reference for Native American dancing. Of course I didn't do enough referencing about it. I just found a video where they were doing a sort of dance, and it looked good. It could be made in a couple of frames and just looping them, so it was okay. Because if you look over here, my first idea was I want to have some guys throwing their arms back, one of them going like this and stuff like that, but it was easier to make just 4 guys, you know. And yeah, the smoke blowing is basically moving the camera, moving the shot down, making the idea that the camera is moving up after the smoke. Yeah, basically frame by frame. There's nothing more to say about this. It's just drawing. Yeah, okay, the bull scene. I really like the bull scene. The bull is basically just a single drawing over here, and his head is moving on a peg, so it's making. And of course, frame by frame on the smoke coming out. Yeah, and this one, I really like Darkie. This motherfucker going mental with a bull. He sees it, and the first thing he pulls out is the red. I have them both over here and just moving them to the left, moving the background to the right to make that 360 shot effect. And Darkie's crazy, of course. Same peg. Here's a frame by frame. Basically, tuk 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 tuk. Just moving the feet frame by frame. Darkie running. It's a looped animation where I made on one, I think, on one part, and then just pegged him all over. You can basically make a whooped animation of a guy walking. You put everything of him. I'm sorry. You put everything of him on a peg, so you can move his feet and his body on one peg all together, and then just put a frame over here, put a frame over here, and there's this there's an in-betweener that the program does. So if I put him here and I put him here and I put the in-betweener, he's basically going to do his looped animation, and he's going to slide him over to the next frame. The thing is, it can be with a static image. It's just going to in between it over there. But the thing with that is, since most of us animate on twos, not on ones, that means that for 1 second that has 24 frames, you basically animate 12 drawings, not 24, because the eye doesn't notice it. So the thing is, the in-betweener always animates on ones, so it's going to go a lot smoother, and there's going to be some sliding. So when his foot comes over here, I have one frame where his foot comes over here, but then the in-betweener moves him without him moving, and then he pulls his feet up, and then it moves him again, which doesn't happen like that. You have to put one foot down and then put the other foot here, so that he comes over here with his other foot and over here with his other foot. But with the in-betweener, it just slides him all the way, and it's not noticeable a lot. But if you wanna be a perfectionist, you take care of stuff like that. You just move it over or don't use an in-betweener. Okay, the next shot. Basically a static image. It's just I'm making it different sizes. I make it bigger, smaller, and shaking it. As you can see, there is no movement on the shot, except for the clouds and the dust, which is a couple of frames going slow motion. Basically, when I turn off the shake and the size, look at it. It's not even moving. You turn it on, and you have a crazy collision. So here, just a static image with just the hand animated. As you can see, what I told you earlier, just making it and easing in. Darkie frame by frame leaving. Yeah. So here, one of them is just a looped animation of going up and down, just 2 frames, and pegging it. And pegging it, oh my god, yeah, just moving the peg up and down. Darkie just a looped animation of 3 frames going like this, and his mouth is moving. Yeah, the head exploding. Frame by frame. Pa 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 pa. Shake it up, shake. Static image with a shake. Going over here. It's 2 frames. 2 frames going back and forth with a lot of shake. Over here, yeah, the clouds are moving, you get it. The same thing over here, just pop, a lot of shake. Basically, the whole animation is just a lot of shake, frame by frame, Darkie leaping over. Yeah, just over here, I have the background moving. Tick, 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 tick. And this guy stops over here, Darkie leaves, and we stay on him. I saw this reaction video of DJ Gohan. He really liked this shot. He saw that it's looped. The devils just going back and forth. The devils are 3 frames. You have them here as the biggest. If we look at it over here, over here is the biggest. Over here the smaller. Here is the smallest, and then he disappears, and we have him over here again. And as for the background, it's just 2 frames. As you can see, we have one line over here. Let's follow this line. It's going over here, and then we have it here again. But of course, the eye follows it over here. And if we put a line in between each line, we create the illusion of movement. And Darkie's 3 frames of his body. Tsuck, 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 and mouth is moving. Yeah, I really like this shot. I really like making really action-based movements. So Darkie just going pa from over here, tsuck, then going over here, jumping on there, catching it, throwing himself on the guy. I don't know what most of you thought. Maybe he blows his head with the gun. No, he slits his neck with his teeth. That's what happens here. He jumps on him and blood splooges all over him, over the inside of the train car. Okay, this one is a long one, as you can see. Okay, I spoke to you about that sliding effect. So look, his foot is over here, it's like this, and he has to make this motion, and then this motion to leave this place. But if I go to the next frame, his foot is still like this, so it's going tsuck, 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 as you can see. And then it's over here, so if we look at the back of the seat, he has to put it down. Yeah, he puts it down on the right place because the camera's moving. But then, without taking his foot off, it's already here. Already here. He just moved one seat distance without lifting his feet at all. Yeah, and this is what I mentioned about the the music going on with this. He's like, da 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 da. It's really nice. Pa pa. Over here, this is one object. When it breaks, I have it on two, so that one is going there, one is going here. So we have this pa effect. And of course, the ground. If you want to make movement, just make lines going. Yeah, here, and in between. And if you loop it, it looks like it's going. I wasn't really sure if this was going to turn out well when I was making the animatic. It looked like this. I really like this. He's saying I can't fall, and he's jumping a big leap, and he actually falls. And of course, Wendigo comes in with arm of with a savior hand. Yeah, bah, friendship. I really found it funny for the horse being there with them. Most derpy horse that you can make. But the horse is gangsta. Don't mess with him. You know. Wait for the horse's single animation. You know. The horse is going to have his own animation song. Yeah. I'm going to voice the horse. It's gonna be a 38-minute rap song from the point of view of a horse. If any of you have seen the Turin horse, you know it's going to be black and white. And I'll just static images going here, you know. Oh, the clouds drawn again, moving the opposite direction, so it's allowed, you know. Just Darkie on 3 frames, turning it back, and zoom out, pulling out. Always pull out, unless you wanna be a daddy. Let me tell you about this shot. So I have the car is on one layer. I have one looped animation of the horseback riding guy, and he's just here with a little offset so the horse feet don't intersect at the same time. These guys are on a separate one, and these are on a separate one. And yeah, that's about it. And just about, I think each one of them has 2 frames. So one here, or one here, and one here. So it's shooting. I just looped up animation of going like this. Pa 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 pa. Yeah, just looped up smoke over here. The door is on one frame, the cars are on another, this is another, and this guy is another. And just. And of course, just an in-between made by the program, going from here to the bottom with the DN text. Darkie is, I think, 3 frames of his dance. Zack, 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 you know? And the end. Yeah, here's an Easter egg. Okay, so here is a penis. It's a little abstract, but it's a penis. And over here, this is a friend of mine. This is Sammy. He's a friend of mine. He's also an animator. Just so you know, a penis and Sammy. And that's about it, actually. So that's the breakdown of the whole animation. If you want, tell me in the comments if you want me to make another one for the genocide video. I think that can be really fun. There are a couple of Easter eggs over there where I don't think any one of you figured them out, actually. If some of you have watched Evangelion, I can point them out in the other video. So tell me if you want that, and I can make this for other videos. If I make other animations for music videos, I can break them down for you. I think it's useful if some of you guys want to make animations. So yeah, drop a like. Tell me what you mean, what you think. So yeah, be looking out for next projects. Gotta go mental, you know. Yeah. Okay. This has been Living in Limo Productions. Signing out.